Our third conversation partner today comes from a church which has an important place in my heart. There is only one parish in the diocese where I have ever cried at a vestry meeting. I've had other feelings, but this is one where I have wanted to cry and did. And the reason was this parish had transformed itself to the point where it was totally focused on what its mission would be. And so from Good Shepherd in Scranton, we have the senior warden, Warren Shotto. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a bit about the discernment journey that Good Shepherd has been on.
Since about 2004, the church, in 2004 we had an event at the church where we were really uncertain what our future would be. And we did not want to be forever defined by that event. So we decided at that point we really wanted to live out our baptismal covenant. Mm-hmm. And we had always had a desire to want to feed the poor. As it happened, we were only able to do one dinner that year. And it was something we wanted to really continue. And after the event had happened, we just decided to go full force. If we were going to go down, we were going to go down trying to be what we needed to be. And it initially started because we thought it would be nice for us to do this. Mm-hmm. Nice of us. But what we really did not realize at the time is that anybody can feed the poor. Anybody can make a meal and serve it, and some people do. But what was transforming for us was the way we were affected after having done it the very first time. When we sought out our clientele, we enlisted the help of the Community Intervention Center in Scranton, which is kind of like a daycare place where homeless and indigent and just the working poor might congregate and get service. And just by reaching out to the people in all earnest desire to want to help somebody, what we realized what we were doing is restoring dignity to people. Just by addressing them and looking in their eyes and just reaching out as another individual. And then the transformation came for us.
And that really is the last promise in the baptismal covenant, respect the dignity of every human being. And you're doing that in a very concrete way.
Yes. And it's very important to us that anybody who even comes through even now to help realize that. The event, it really snowballed from just 4 or 5 of us doing this to one of the co-founders of the Seasons of Love program, Kathy Elgaway, as a teacher at Scranton Prep School. And it was turned into a service option for them. And the students that have come through over the past, almost 7 years now, have all been transformed as well. And to the point where they've even written essays about it, done photo studies on it, done little videos about just the way, the similarities that they find between themselves and the people that we're serving astound them more than the situations that brought the people to where they are. Because it really is only sometimes a difference of 1 or 2 paychecks between them and us.
Yeah. So God was leading you to want to feed the poor.
Yes.
And the partners you have, 2 at least in the Scranton community, are now drawn into that, and you have found it's changed Good Shepherd.
It's changed Good Shepherd. We made the mission our foremost, most important endeavor, to the point where when we really didn't have a lot of space to offer, when people were donating clothing to give to them, they would come in bags and boxes, and we would just put them in the foyer of our parish hall because we had nowhere else to put them. And then on the days that we would do the dinners, we would take them all the bags and boxes and put them all on the tables, and then store them back up again. So literally we were forcing our parishioners to kind of trip over the mission. And as time had gone by, and we got the assistance of the kids from Scranton Prep, the other thing that's astounding to me is the churches in the north, like Good Shepherd, St. Luke's, Epiphany, St. Mark's, have all in some way, shape, or form reached out to want to be part of this whole mission. And so people from St. Mark's come down and help us in the kitchen. The youth of St. Luke's helped create blankets around Christmas time to give to the poor. The people of Epiphany have been very forthcoming with donations and help with transportation. So it really, just to have that kind of cooperation between the churches has been astounding.
So the constellation of dots in the church is now a constellation of churches, all with their own dots.
It is indeed, and as you know, up in the north, in Scranton especially, the Catholic Church is a very prominent force in the area. And what's nice now is we've been asked to be part of the coalition locally for the homeless and working poor. So we're now kind of a force in that whole process.
Yeah. And you've chosen to alter your space in order to do more mission.
We did, and through the Diocese of Bethlehem, we received the first New Hope grant. And with that, over the course of 5 years, we transformed an undercroft, which was virtually like it seemed initially like a dirt basement because it hadn't been used in forever. But the undercroft is the same size as the church itself, as the nave, and we have been able to transform that whole space into what we hope eventually will be a shelter. But currently we're utilizing it right now as a clothing exchange. And when one of the local stores at the malls was going out of business, we were able to purchase a good portion of their fixtures. And the basement has been transformed now into it almost looks like a Gap store. But it's all clothing that's been donated by people from all walks. I mean, we'll when we come to the church, we'll find big garbage bags or boxes at our doors, just people that want to donate and help. So we were able to offer clothing, toiletries. From Moses Taylor Hospital in Scranton, I have nurses come to do health screenings. We have beauticians that volunteer their time to come and do haircuts for free. And that's a big draw because hygiene is, it's very much lacking and they don't have that kind of service.
And you've expanded your restroom facilities to help the hygiene project too.
We have. Years ago, when the church first had its parish hall, it was considered to be like a community center in the area, and it was like a gymnasium. And the men's room in the basement was set up with showers and a locker room. So as we continue with the grant process, we're going to be converting the men's room and locker room into a women's and men's bathroom and shower space.
Oh, that's great.
So that's one of the biggest problems, even when we talk with the local coalition, just spaces for them to be able to come and take a shower or get clean, or because so much of what they have is really just on their backs, and everything needs to be disposable.
Yeah.
So we've been able to provide at least that for them.
Good Shepherd is in a very nice neighborhood.
Yes.
How are the neighbors dealing with this?
Initially, people were we called them peekers. They were peeking out their windows, wondering what was happening in the area. And oddly enough, right next door to our church, the mayor of the town is in residence. And at one of our dinners early on, it was a very nice summer day, and a lot of the younger men that were there wanted to play football in the front yard. And so the mayor's children from next door came over, and they were just engaged in the game of football, not knowing, of course, what was going on there. But over time, people have, I think, reconciled themselves to, there's something good happening there. So we've not had too much resistance at this point, but I think, as you said, the neighborhood is a very affluent neighborhood, and it's old money, and we were kind of concerned that the thought of the neighbors would think that there would be, a parade of homeless people walking in and out of the neighborhood, but that has not really happened, and we've gotten support via donations, and by nature of the kids that work there, some of the children of the people who live in those homes have served there as well. So
you're changing the neighborhood just by being you?
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, we're hopefully changing the face of the way people see the community as well.
You have some additions in your own family.
We do.
What's going on?
Well, my wife and I have 4 sons, Brandon, Tyler, Spencer, and Cooper. And when we first got married, we had said, if we did not have a girl, we wanted to adopt a girl. But as luck would have it, over the years, we had boy after boy after boy after boy. And we finally reached the place where we wanted to say, this is it. And when we talked about different ways to how to go through the process, we didn't want to, at being 40, whatever, didn't want to have to go through baby stage and all that. We thought really maybe a toddler or a 5-year-old would be great to have an addition to the family. So we entered the process through the state of Pennsylvania because there are so many children that are already in the system. And as fate would have it, we got a phone call one day that there were a set of twins, 10-year-old girls, who happen to be the same age as our youngest boy, who had, through the whole process, really hoped to be the youngest, and he's the youngest now, but he wanted to not be the youngest anymore. As fate would have it, that did not happen. But they're all the same age, and they came through us through the foster care system, and we just got notification that our adoption will be finalized next week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Isn't there something about the Holy Spirit, though, when a family is willing to take strangers in and make them part of themselves?
Yes, yeah, you're right. We have always had a desire to want to do more and be better. My wife is also an adopted person, and she had a wonderful experience, and we wanted to be able to provide that for somebody else as well. And she felt very strongly about that, and as did I. And we're both only children, so now here we are with 6 children of our own, and a dog, a cat, and fish, and birds, and a very full house. But we are grateful that we're able to provide the opportunity.
Yeah. So your life and your parish's life and the community around you, by following these leads, discover all kinds of joy you didn't know was there.
That's absolutely true. And for so long at Good Shepherd, even prior to the last regime we had in the church itself had been, as I said when I first started, was a vibrant community center, as evidenced by pictures we have in our archives. But somewhere, maybe the late 70s, throughout the majority of the 80s, the building really had been shut down to the community, to the point where nobody wanted to let anybody in. When we decided that we were going to stop worrying about the inside of the four walls and open out to the community and try to go back to our roots, the blessings have just been almost immeasurable, because even now when we run into people who have volunteered at the dinners, some people always talk about a story or a person or something that just touched their lives or changed it. And so it's that ripple effect.
Yes.
People are going off and doing things as a result of having been there.
Thank you. I'm really grateful for that story. What we're going to ask you who are watching this video to do is really a very simple exercise. There'll be more questions distributed to you, but for purposes of looking at the video, to urge you to take a minute or two to think about the dots in your own life. What are your gifts? What are your possibilities? What are your interests? What are your passions? And then connect the dots. What kind of constellation do those dots form when you think of yourself in the world? Last Monday, knitters from all around the diocese, for whom knitting was a hobby, have come together to create garments for others. And the experience they had of being together with so many people who had the same concerns changed them. So what are your dots? How do you connect them? How do they match the opportunities around you? What's true for us personally is true for us as parishes and as a diocese and as a national church. What are our special gifts as Episcopal churches? What are the gifts of your parish in terms of the people and the concerns in them? How do they configure? How do they connect to meet the needs and opportunities of the community where you are, the community we serve together? So I hope you find that a stimulating conversation, and thank you for your attention.